advantage after all. So good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Diana Cherryholmes, Suffolk County Office of Cultural Affairs and the Suffolk County Film Commission. And we're really happy with our team to be here this morning to walk through the application and the guidelines and so on. Jackie McCormick is here. She
Hello.
is the right arm of our department, and our leader, our humble leader, Jonathan Keys is here, and he would like to say hello.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for the introduction, Diana. As you stated, Jonathan Keys, I'm the director of the Office of Downtown and Transit-Oriented Development. So this year, that's something that's a little new and different. Won't matter so much for you all. It's really more on our end, but just sort of in recognizing the importance and the role that arts and culture play in downtown development and placemaking. The programs are now housed in the Downtown and Transit-Oriented Development Division of Economic Development and Planning. So hopefully we'll get to know each other a little bit more as this process goes on. This is all pretty new for me, so I'm going to defer to the experts to just keep doing the great work that they've been doing. And I'll sit back and listen and learn, I guess, with the rest of you. I just want to acknowledge a few extra folks on the panel side here today. We have James Braco-McComb and Aladdin Baskert, who are with our division, who'll be assisting with some of the grant administration as well going forward. So you'll probably see their names as well. But without further ado, I will turn it back over to Diana.
Okay, thank you very much, Jonathan. So as we move forward today, there's going to be some questions that you have. I think James or Aladdin will be monitoring those in the chat function. So please put your comments in the chat box. If it's specific to your own program, what I recommend is you send us an email and we will set up a Zoom conversation or a telephone conversation with you. As you can see, we're all kind of working remotely for the most part still. And we anticipate that's going to continue to be the new reality for a while. So we're here. We're still here and available to speak with you. We love to talk to you all and learn more about your program. So take advantage of that. But today, use chat right down here, and answer and ask your questions. And I apologize for Ruthie because she's just a nut. But we'll be good to go as long as she doesn't jump on my keyboard and leave me from this conversation. So let's get going. James or Aladdin. Very good. Thank you very much for starting us out today. This workshop is for Cultural Competitive and the Emerging Film Festival. We ask that you use the same application and the same guidelines for both of these. They go to two separate panels. Next slide, please. All right, so we are the Suffolk County Office of Film and Cultural Affairs. We are in the Department of Economic Development and Planning. And we have two separate websites, Suffolk County Office of Cultural Affairs. We list a number of the organizations that we work with. We invite you to take a look, make sure your link is active on that list. If it's not, or if you're not even there, send me an email so we can add you, please. Suffolk County Film Commission, that website is devoted primarily for answering questions from productions that want to film in Suffolk County. And that's who we are. Next page, please. Overview. So our mandate really is to support community arts organizations, including collectives. Collectives may be a group of individual artists that wish to come together, form an event, and to, you know, have a nonprofit organization as a sponsor. We want these organizations or collectives to embody the highest artistry and creative vibrancy, to foster cultural participation in order to build exciting neighborhoods, amplify the voice of the underrepresented communities, and celebrate the diversity of Suffolk County. Now, that's an important statement because everything that you write should go back to that mission. All right. And think about your project and how you can describe it, and that as in terms of how it speaks back to one or all of those points. The funding comes from the hotel motel tax, that's the bed tax. And the funding, the anticipated funding for 2022 for these two line items are $206,541 for the cultural competitive and $30,000 for the emerging film festival. The applications must be at a minimum $5,000 request, nothing less. If you request less than $5,000, you lose your qualification. The deadline is Monday, December 20th, 2021. Going back to the project minimum, it's 5,000, said, what is the maximum you're going to ask? It is whatever you feel is necessary. The panel does tend to verge on conservative. So be mindful of that in terms of the request that you're asking for. All right, next slide, please. The grand timeline. Okay, today is the workshop. This is going to be uploaded later. All of you that are here automatically get the extra points. The application deadline is in December 20th. The panel meeting, it's this Citizens Advisory Board for the Arts that will adjudicate, score, discuss your application in February, and likewise Suffolk County Film Commission for the Emerging Film Festival panel. In March, we hope to get the funding recommendations laid on the table. And then hopefully in April, we will get all the award letters out. So that is how we're looking at the schedule this year. And we know that there might be changes, but we really don't think that there will be. Next slide. Thank you. To apply, all the applications and documents, the guidelines are on our website, suffolkartsandfilm.com. Please read the documents in their entirety. Attending this workshop alone is not going to give you all the detailed information that you can find in the guidelines themselves. All of the applications must be submitted electronically. We do accept a flash drive delivered to the address in the guidelines, which is at our H. Lee Dennison building. We don't want any hard copies. We want 0 hard copies. Partially submitted applications are considered incomplete. We won't accept them. They will not go to the panel. Late application submissions will not be considered. We know that they'll be late because they'll come in after the deadline, and we just won't accept it. Sometimes uploading The documents can be slow, so give yourself plenty of time to do that. We're not going to let anyone have any exceptions for incomplete or late applications, and double check the submission checklist before you submit your application. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I had already mentioned earlier about what Citizens Advisory Board for the Arts and the Film Commission does. So the CAB evaluates and scores all the applications, and the staff, meaning Jackie, myself, Jonathan, other members of the team, develops the program guidelines, the application. We work with you all, getting your applications in, answers your questions, we accept your application, and then we review them for completeness. And that is strictly, have you submitted all of the required documents? Then we send that forward to the CAB. Next slide, please. The scoring. Okay, this is the scoring for every single application. The questions are scored in this manner. So the artistic project vibrancy scored 1 to 5 points. Now, as you'll note in the actual guidelines in the application, the artistic program vibrancy includes the program overview, the program artists and technical personnel, and the program collaborators. So all of those three will get 1 to 5 points. Service to the community includes the outreach and marketing plan, and the accessibility, and the cultural tourism, and so on. Now, some of these, project community and matching capability, are automatically defined based on a defined scale. In the terms of project community, what we do is we take a look of where your project is actually going to happen. This is why we need the street address for your project. And that request is on page 18 and 19, where we're asking for you to list your event. We really need the street address, because we then look it up on the scoring criteria under Section 6 under the U.S. Census Bureau data points, and give it that number of points. If you're having multiple projects and in many different communities, we'll then average the points out. So please give us those addresses, because you don't want to lose points by not giving us the complete street address. Okay, next page. Okay, so the definitions, 5 is exceptional, really no weakness. Excellent is at 4, some minor weaknesses. Good, strong, but with some moderate weakness is scored at 3. Fair, some strengths, but at least one major weakness is scored at 2, and 1 little effort evident. You don't want a 1. That's why you're here. We don't want you to get a 1 either in your score. Next page, please. Organizational eligibility. This is really important. First of all, your organization must have arts at the center of its mission. You must be in an operation for at least 1 year. And your project must take place in Suffolk County and be open to the public. And you must provide us with 501c3 tax exempt status, or the same for your fiscal sponsor. This year, we're also asking for your W-9. So please present this. And again, we're asking you request a minimum of $5,000. Next page, please. Funding goals. So as I stated earlier, we want to promote affordable and accessible spectator and participatory arts experiences. We want them to embody the highest artistry and create vibrancy for community members. We want to increase opportunities for professional Suffolk County artists. We want to encourage presentations of underrepresented artists or art forms reflecting ethnic and indigenous traditions. And we want to increase that visitation to downtown locations. And we have defined what downtown means right below. That's also in the guidelines. Next page, please. Okay, ineligible expenses. These are anything expenses incurred prior to January 1 or after the grant period ends at December 31st. So you're going to ask, you want to apply for a project that begins in January 2022, but you're not going to know about funding if you've received this award until April. Well, that's fine. We can, if you are, if you do receive funding recommendation for the January project, we'll continue to move forward with that. And if you do not credit the county, which at that point, you don't know, you don't need to credit us, you won't get a demerit for that. So that can be possible. No capital construction or real property in the ineligible expenses. We don't really want to see hard costs, equipment, supplies that can be used for other events. Non-project specific management and general expenses. Any outside professional services. Many of you have accounting firms or public relation, fundraising, legal. That should not be in the program expense budget. Arts projects of social service agencies and so on. So you can read through this. I don't know if you can hear Ruthie, but she's driving me nuts. And read through that. If you have questions on that, please ask them, because we don't want you to get into trouble later down the road when you can ask us specifically. Next slide, please. Application checklist. All applications must be typed into the PDF application. If you handwrite the application, we will not accept it. If you are having problems with the PDF, please let us know and we will get someone on our team to assist you so that you can type it up. You'll submit one electronic copy of the application, attachments, organizational budget, and support materials to us by December 20th, 2021. No late submissions will be accepted. Flash drive is, I mentioned it earlier, is going to be acceptable. If you want that flash drive back, please include a self-addressed stamped envelope. Make sure that the documents you're loading into that flash drive are actually loaded on that drive. I would take it to a different computer and make sure that all of those documents open up. Sometimes we have quick links to documents, and it's easy to file that onto the flash drive and not be able to open it from any other computer. So make sure that it works. This is something where if you have somebody else to help you out, that would be helpful. IRS, so the attachments, we already talked about the IRS tax exempt letter and so on. Support materials, they're really not required, but they're very helpful for you to tell your story. All of these must be submitted in a digital format. Hard copy support materials will not be shared with the Citizens Advisory Board or the Film Commission for review. We ask that you utilize web links, digital photos as much as possible. Even within the text of the narrative of your application, you can use these web links very much. When you're putting a biography of the performers or the people involved in your program, feel free to just put those web links in. Our panel will go for that. They'll go to look at your web. If they don't know anything about you or your organization, they're going to go to your website. They're going to Google search you. So you want there to be information out that is easily understood about your organization. All right, next question, please. Okay, so the process is when you're saving your documents, please don't save it as Suffolk County Cultural Competitive. That will mean nothing to us if everybody does that, because then it's lost in the morass of all the applications and documents that we're going to receive. So please save the document as the name of your organization, the title of the program, and so for instance, down here we have name of organization, painting history, .1099, and then the date. So that is really helpful. We are going to respond to your email within 24 hours so that you can, with a link to upload your completed grant packet. Jackie manages that part, and she did a fantastic job last year, as did you. So that email to say, hey, we're ready to submit the application is SuffolkCountyNY.gov. Jackie's going to respond with a link, and then you must upload all those documents. All right. Next page. Okay, so this talks about, again, that the application is the funding recommendations. We hope go to the legislature by March, April. At the same point, you're going to have that information. We try to send out the recommendation letters. This year, they'll be via email to you the same day that the general legislature approves the legislation. This is a 1-year term of agreement, so it has to be January 1st through the December 31st. We do offer panel feedback, so make sure to approach us after the panel, after you've received information about your receipt of the award, or if you didn't receive the award, we are definitely able to provide you feedback. We ask that you do that at that time, not at this time, because people right now are going to be looking forward to how to submit the application this year around. All right, next page, please. Okay, additional information in the guidelines, contractual requirements, final report guidelines, who the members of the Citizen Advisory Board for the Arts are, and more. And next page. This is who we are, myself, Erin, and Jackie. Please, if you're going to email one of us, please email all of us. Don't, or send your request to SCOCA@SuffolkCountyNY.gov. And next page, watch the workshop. Okay, so the workshop is, you can't see my sheet, but it's pencil. Yay, yay, everybody. Well, that really doesn't come out well, but I'll show it to you in a moment. So the secret word is pencil, Pencil. It is a writing utensil. Next page, please. Okay, we're going to say thank you, but we're not done yet. I want us to go into the actual application and take a look at the new pages that we have where it goes into the budget. So if we could please go to page 14. Here we go. All right, so the budget pages look different this year. And it's really nothing for you to worry about. In fact, this should be easier for you. So you are able, in this first page, put down your earned income examples. So under source, you can write admission. Explanation, you think you're going to have 20 people attend 5 programs. And then what you're budgeting, that total amount for admissions. Likewise, workshop fees, you're going to bring an arts and education person in, and so on. Now, this should be not for your entire organization. This should be for the program you are requesting funds for. All right, let's scroll down to the next page. All right, contributed income samples. So this is for this program. Let's say you're getting funds from the Huntington Arts Council, their re-grant program. You can say, okay, you're anticipating receiving $4,000. Let's say you're receiving funds from Bethpage Federal Credit Union. Put down $3,000 for that. So these are the contributed income sources that you need to put down in this. So now go to the next page. This will be our expenses. Excuse us, we made a slight error. Please see eligible expenses. That means that is rather ineligible. We'll have that corrected on our website later today. So what we want you to do for the budget is write down the different line items as you see fit, and give us an explanation, the dollar amount that's in the budget, and what you will request from Suffolk County. Now, this is really important because the panel likes to fund artists. They really like to fund the artist fees. So rank that as number 1, maybe, in what you would like to put down as requested from Suffolk County. Marketing is eligible for this program. Marketing. If you need to rent equipment for this, there's a lot of really eligible. But if you're going to ask for administration fees, which is honestly, it's eligible, but it's not something the panel really likes to fund. They want to fund artist fees. Another point on this, we don't want you to say in the income section, we don't want you to put in your request from Suffolk County. You're anticipating from Suffolk County this award within this budget. You need to have a deficit of what your request dollar amount is. So if you're requesting $5,000, make sure that there's a deficit of $5,000. So pages 14 and 15. Pages 14 and 15 should equal 16 minus the deficit, which is your request, which you should be reflecting, I think, on page 1 of this application. Can you scroll back to page 1? Thank you. Okay, scroll down. All right, operated. So maybe it's on page 2. Nope. total program cost. Yes. But that does not say so that should equal what we're already discussing in your program expenses. So let's say you're redrafting this and redrafting this. Make sure that it all lines up. So your narrative should speak the same story, tell the same story as your budget. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't want to
Yes.
take the Q&As out of order, but I noticed there are a couple that relate to what we're talking about right now. One of which is from Nancy Solomon, who notes that on the program contributed income budget page, I noticed that the totals did not match the individual line budget figures. It left out the last 30 as an example. So when I listed one grant at 10,000 and another at 3, the total came up as 13. I'm just trying to identify where that is so we can try to replicate the issue.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy, for bringing that to our attention.
If there's a formula problem with the fillable cells, we can look at that and address it. But let's see if we're having a similar issue here. It seems like it's working for us. Maybe we can, I'm going to try to allow Nancy to speak perhaps and explain and see if we're doing something that's not replicating the issue. Where are you? Okay. Okay, Nancy, I've put you, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure why, when I, filled out the PDF, it just came out as 13 on that page at the bottom.
Okay. I would say make sure you've got the latest one. Maybe try to, I don't know, maybe re-download or just maybe something just didn't come out quite right. If you are still having trouble with it, maybe let's see if Diana's going to try it now and see if it matters. But if you continue to have trouble, maybe just shoot us an email with a screenshot or something like that, and we'll play around on the back end too and see if we can if we're still having issues.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll put you back on the participants. Okay, sorry,
Thank you,
Diana, to
Nancy.
interrupt.
Okay, what other questions do we have, Jonathan?
I'll work backwards since another budget one here. Does money from organizational budgets go onto the income sheets?
If it relates directly to this program, yes.
Okay, so if as an organization are receiving income related to the program, that will go here.
Yeah. Because these 3 pages are for the program that you're requesting funds for. Keep it to the program only.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning. Will the citizen panelists change due to recent elections, or will they still be in place because of timing of the reviews?
I think they'll be in place due to the timing of the reviews. Yeah, it just wouldn't, and they're by legislation, they all have certain terms. I don't see them changing immediately, but you never know. I doubt the newly elected individuals would want to hold up the process. This does serve their constituency. And I'm sure they'd be very supportive.
Would a program for high school students in a particular area, for example, all Huntington Township high schools, that culminates in a performance open to the public be eligible, or would that be considered limiting it based upon age and location?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, if the performance is open to the public, then it kind of skirts the eligibility where this program doesn't fund in-school programs, the panel would most likely not score it highly because it's a limited attendance, limited participation. And they would want to know, how are you going to solicit individuals outside of your immediate target area? This is a question we often get for the Omnibus Awards as well. So we want to know, how are you seeking out these participants? And how is that open to the public? Does that make sense? I hope.
Continuing, please discuss matching capability, 1 to 5 points.
Matching capability. Okay, good question. So this is scored automatically. We score it based on how much support your program has, in how you're articulating that in the budget. So you are going to get more points if you have more community support as articulated and expressed in your budget. If you are only seeking funds from Suffolk County, you're going to get a low score. So we want you to have a diversified funding base for this program. That is our end goal.
Is preference given to in-person programming, or will some online or hybrid programming also be considered for funding, given the ongoing new normal?
Well, currently we do have a preference for in-person. We don't really want you to request anything for virtual programming. If it comes to that it needs to go to virtual, then we will individually have that conversation with you following the award. And likewise, that should come in writing in an email to us. Let's say, the church that you had booked for the performance is not available on March 3rd, but a school is available for you to have a performance on April 1st. Can you switch that date and location? Our answer would probably be sure, but we need to see that in writing from you. Same with any significant budget changes. Common problems when we go into contracting, you're supposed to fill out the explanation of funds and your budget. I am not saying that title correctly, but at any rate, you are telling us how much you're going to spend funds on for any particular line items. That goes into the contract. So at the end of the day, when you have to send us the canceled checks and the invoices and so on for those expenses, it needs to match identically. And that's no easy feat. Sometimes there are changes and that's valid and we get that, but it has to come through a budget modification. We can discuss that later on when we get to that point. I mean, my point is stay in communication with us, please. We don't want you to lose money.
It was mentioned for income source, or admission is listed among potential or income source. Aren't these programs supposed to be free and open to the public, or is just open to the public and not necessarily free?
Good question. Open to the public. You are not required to offer a free performance. There is a value to the arts. There's a value to what you're producing, and you legitimately can sell a ticket price for that. Yeah.
What if an admission isn't charged to these book talks or video? The Art League is going to ticket our event in 2022, and it will include a book as part of the ticket price.
Well, we would not, you couldn't request from the county to purchase the books that you're going to give away. One. So that sounds like a complicated event. You might want to have a conversation with us because it's clearly not at your venue, and you're working with somebody else. So send us an email on that.
Couple comments that came up in the chat. I'll just work my way backwards. First, please explain the secret word. So the secret word again was pencil, and there's a field on the application towards the end that asks you to fill in the secret word. So it's literally one of the questions on the application. So you'll just fill in the word pencil there, and you will get a point. And if you put pen, you get half point. That's
You
just
really
kidding.
can't see this. Sorry guys,
And
but it's
working
pencil.
backwards, it noted that if you're having difficulty filling out the application due to computer or technical issues, most internet browsers that you open this application on will open it automatically and allow you to fill in the PDF right there. Just type your answers right in the field in that browser. You don't need Adobe or any special viewer.
But I think
yeah, I was gonna say you should also be able to save that input field when you're done. If you're having difficulty saving your responses, consistent with what Diana's been saying, let us know. But go ahead, Diana, what do you want to add?
Yeah, I think what's been the way in the past that they've needed to download that document, that PDF, after they can open it and start writing on it, but they might not be able to save it. You have to download it, then you can type on it, and then you can save it. But double check that, maybe type in the first page, and if that works and you're able to save it, then you're going to know. But if you fill in everything,
yeah, that's a good suggestion. Try just a couple of responses first to make sure you don't waste your time.
And you're not able to save it, then that's just so frustrating. It's really frustrating. And we get that.
Usually we are asked to provide an unearned and contributed annual income for the year the project is taking place, in this case 2022. The guidelines say current grant year. Just want to make sure that we should provide unearned and contributed annual income for 2021, not 2022.
2022 is what we're asking. Page 17 of the application has that form. Let me double check.
So in other words, they should provide the income for 2022. Is that correct, Diana?
Correct.
Okay.
Page 17 of the form. That's required information that the county wants from you. And that's for the total of your organization, not just from this program.
So that would be anticipated income for the 22 calendar year?
Anticipated, yes.
Okay.
Right. Absolutely.
Are there word limits on the application field?
I am not. There's more space to answer questions.
Yeah, Jackie, you created the fillable PDF, I think. Do you know?
So there's no cap, but there is more than enough space to write. And if you go over, which you shouldn't, there will be a little plus on the bottom of the box.
Bottom right-hand side.
The right-hand side. But there's more than enough space.
So, good point, Jackie. That plus sign on the bottom right-hand side, you don't want to see that. Anything beyond that point, our panel members won't be able to read, or may not scroll down to read it. So you don't want that to happen. Okay. Anything else?
About it.
Okay, so I want to thank you all very much for joining us today. I know you're going to have ongoing questions. Feel free to send us an email with those questions at SCOCA, SCOCA @SuffolkCountyNY.gov. And that email will be sent automatically to Jackie, Aaron, and myself, and we can answer it. Those of you that are here, 35 of you, are already signed up for the extra point. If you're representing more than one organization, just send us an email to that same address, SCOCA, SCOCA, at suffolkcountiny.gov, and let us know so that you can have credit for both of those organizations.
And it also doesn't hurt just to put the secret word.
And the secret
the
word is
application.
pencil.
You
Oh,
know,
yes.
even if you attended the workshop, you just put pencil in the secret word.
Right,
That means you're going to get the point no matter what.
Great.
pencil.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Be safe in the rain.